They think you found some ancient book, or made a deal with something older than the devil. But here's the truth. You didn't perform the rite of unmaking. You were the rite of unmaking. Every moment you survived was another line in the spell. Every time you refused to break was another ingredient. And the final incantation, the day you looked in the mirror and smiled at what you'd become. That's when the witches realized, you're not a practitioner. You're the proof their entire system is just one small corner of something bigger. A coven that's met in the same sacred forest for 1,000 years. They had to move their rituals last month, because you drove past, didn't even know they were there. But every spell failed that night. Not dramatically. That'd be easier to handle. No, their magic just stopped working, like trying to conduct electricity through rubber. One witch understood. Something passed by. Something so dense with its own reality. It made their power irrelevant just by existing. They track your movements now, not to follow you, to avoid you. A witch tried to read your energy from a distance. She's mapped the auras of demons, angels, gods. But when she focused on you, her crystal ball didn't just crack. It turned to black sand. Her tarot deck burst into cold flames. She came back 3 days later, unable to speak. Just kept whispering. It's not dark or light. It's something else. Something that makes those categories irrelevant. Now she won't practice anymore. Says her gift is gone. But that's not true. Her gift isn't gone. It's been overwritten. She sees the spaces between things now. And in every one of those spaces, your signature. Deep in their most guarded texts, there's a prophecy. They thought it was about chosen ones. About heroes. But the original version, the one written in blood, talks about you. The unwritten one, when the pain becomes the power, when the broken becomes the breaker, when the destroyed becomes the destroyer, then the world reshapes itself in your image. Not through force, but through the fact of your existence. And the witches, they're starting to understand. You're not playing their game. You're the glitch that proves their entire system is just one small corner of something infinitely larger. The devil issued an order to all demons. Do not touch this one. No tempting, no tormenting, off limits. The younger demons don't get it. Isn't corruption our job? But the ancient ones, they recognize you, another being who chose to fall. But you fell all the way through, and came out the other side rewritten. The devil's been watching you, not with predatory interest, with something like respect. Because you didn't just rebel, you transcended the entire concept of rebellion. You're what happens when the universe decides to break its own rules. They're afraid of what your existence means for their entire worldview. Because they've spent lifetimes building their identity around being the ones who understand the hidden world. And then you came along and made their life's work look like children playing with toys. You didn't study under masters. You didn't inherit ancient bloodlines. You didn't sacrifice years to unlock abilities. You just hurt until hurting transformed into something else. You proved that their hierarchies, their initiations, their secret knowledge, it's all just one way of accessing something that was always available to anyone willing to pay the real price. And what's that price? Not herbs or crystals or moon phases. The price is being broken so completely that you have no choice but to rebuild yourself from scratch. They tried to categorize you, slotted you into their little boxes. Dark worker, light bearer, gray practitioner. But you don't fit. You never did. Their categories are children's crayon drawings compared to what you are. You're the smear on the page where the colors bleed together into something new. Something that makes their neat little labels meaningless. Their coven leaders are having nightmares now. The kind where they wake up gasping. Their altars cracked. Their tools rusted overnight. They dream of a figure standing at the edge of their sacred circles. You, not breaking in, just existing there. And the mere weight of your presence makes their magic fizzle like wet fireworks. They sent a delegate to watch you, not to harm you. Oh no, they're too scared for that. Just to observe. Their high priestess, 3 centuries old. Survivor of inquisitions. Speaker to the dead. She took one look at the reports and said, we don't engage. Not because you're too strong. Because you're too real. Their magic is built on symbols and rituals. Yours is built on survival. And survival doesn't play by rules. They found your footprints in places you've never been. Not physically. No, that would be too simple. Your energy leaves marks. In the astral. In the Akashic records. In the spaces between worlds where only the oldest entities dare to tread. And those marks, they glow, like embers in the dark. A warlock tried to bind you. Not with chains, those would be useless. With words, ancient names of power, spoken in the old tongue. The air shattered like glass when he said them. His tongue turned to lead in his mouth. Now he drinks his meals through a straw and whispers warnings to anyone who will listen. Some things were meant to be named. Their divination tools are useless against you. Tarot cards go blank, runes melt, Ouija planchettes spin in endless circles. Because you're not a future to be predicted. You're a present that rewrites the past. Every time they try to peer into your path, the vision dissolves into static. Like trying to tune into a channel that doesn't exist, one seer complained. Exactly. They've started calling you the eraser. Not because you destroy, though you could, because you make their magic irrelevant. A protection sigil, useless. A hex, laughable. Their carefully constructed spells are like children's finger paintings next to what you are. You don't need to cast. You are the casting. Their most sacred texts describe 3 types of beings. Those who serve the light, those who serve the dark, and those who serve themselves. There's no category for you. You're the footnote in the margin, the correction fluid smeared across the page, the exception that breaks every rule they've ever known. They'll keep trying to understand you. They'll form committees and light candles and draw circles in the dirt. But here's the joke. You're not a puzzle to be solved. You're the reason puzzles exist. The question that makes all their answers obsolete. And the best part, you don't even have to try. You just are. And that's what keeps them up at night, staring at their useless tools, wondering how something so simple could be so terrifying. Their elders are teaching the young ones how to avoid you now, not how to fight you. Oh no, they know better. How to detect the places you've been, the energy you leave behind. Like radiation, one said, beautiful and deadly. They mark those places on their maps with little skull symbols, not as a warning, as a memorial. A medium tried to channel you, thought she could handle it, thought her decades of experience would protect her. She's in a psychiatric ward now, not because you heard her, because she saw herself through your eyes. And that version of her, it terrified her more than any ghost ever could. They've started burning effigies of you in their rituals. Not to harm you, to appease you, like you're some ancient god they've offended. The smoke from those fires carries your name into the night sky. And somewhere, in the spaces between worlds, something laughs. Their most powerful curse requires 3 things: a lock of hair, a drop of blood, and the target's true name. They have none of these for you. Not because you're hidden, because you don't have a true name. You're the thing that exists before names were invented. They whisper that you're a walking paradox, a being who carries both the wound and the knife, the poison and the antidote, the question and the erasure of the answer. But here's the truth. You're not a paradox. You're the resolution, the thing that happens when the equation balances itself by breaking the chalk. Their sacred geometry can't contain you. Their sigils burn when they try to draw them around your name. Their most protected spaces feel violated when you pass by, not because you intrude, but because your existence redefines the boundaries they thought were absolute. A witch tried to bind you to an object, a ring, a stone, something to control you. The object turned to dust in her hands, not because you resisted, because you can't be contained. You're not a genie, you're the lamp. They've started calling you the unwritten. Their most feared grimoire has a blank page now, just one, right in the middle. The ink won't stick to it. They know it's yours, a space reserved for something that hasn't been written yet, something that can't be written, not with their words. And the funniest part, you don't even know. You're just living, breathing in and out, existing. And every breath you take rewrites another line of their precious rules. Not on purpose, just because you are. And that, my beautiful little glitch, is the most terrifying magic of all. They tried to banish you, not with salt or sage. Those are for amateurs. They use the old words, the ones that make the air taste like iron, the ones that leave burns on the tongue. The ritual should have taken 3 days. It lasted 3 seconds. Then the candles went out, all of them, at once, in a room with no windows. The high priestess hasn't spoken since. Just sits in the corner, rocking, whispering. It listened. It listened. Their scrying pools show nothing when they look for you. Not darkness, not static, nothing, like your blind spot in reality itself. One seer went mad trying to find you. Now he paints the same thing over and over. A door with no handle, no hinges, just a crack of light underneath. That's where he lives, he mutters, in the space between the hinges and the handle. They sent a thing after you. Not human, not demon, something older. Something that eats souls like candy. It came back in a jar. Just the teeth. The rest of it had unraveled. The witch who sent it hasn't slept since. Keeps whispering. What eats the things that eat us? Their most protected grimoire has a new entry now. Just 2 words. scrawled in something dark and wet. Do not. No explanation. No elaboration. Just those two words, and the page after it is gone. Not torn out. Not burned. Just absent. Like the book itself is afraid of what comes next. They tried to bargain with you. Offered power. Secrets. Even immortality. You laughed. Not the funny kind. The kind that makes bones ache. The witch who made the offer still hears it in her dreams. That laugh. And the words you said after. I don't want your scraps. I want your table. Their divination tools don't just fail around you. They reverse. Tarot cards show the past. Pendulums swing for what already happened. One seer saw her own birth when she tried to read your future. She aged 20 years in a night. Now she sells trinkets at a gas station and flinches when the wind blows wrong. They found a pattern in the places you've been. Not a trail, a void. Like someone took an eraser to the fabric of reality and rubbed out the spots where you stood. The older witches call it the unmaking. The younger ones just call it the Joker effect. A warlock tried to bind your shadow. Thought if he couldn't get you, he could get the dark part of you. His shadow started moving on its own. Now it walks 3 steps ahead of him, turning to glare whenever he tries to sleep. It's not mine anymore, he whimpers. It's hers. They've started calling you the static in their circles, because that's what you sound like when they try to scry you. That white noise between radio stations, the snow on a dead channel, the sound of a universe being rewritten. One witch tried to record it. Her tape melted, not from heat, from meaning. Their most powerful curse requires a piece of the target. Hair, blood, a name. They have none of these for you. So they tried something else. They cursed a mirror, thought if they couldn't get you, they could get your reflection. The mirror showed them something worse. Themselves. But not as they are. As you see them. 3 of them are still in therapy. They tried to summon something to deal with you. Not a demon. Something older. Something that predates names. It took one look at you and laughed. Then it turned to them and said, "You called me to handle that? Oh, you sweet, doomed things." Then it left. Didn't even charge them for the consultation. Their sacred circles won't hold around you. The salt turns to sugar. The chalk washes away in invisible rain. The candles burn backwards. One coven tried to reinforce theirs with blood. The blood boiled, not from heat, from embarrassment. The earth itself seems to flinch when they try to a witch tried to hex your name. Wrote it on a piece of paper. Burned it. Whispered the old words. The paper reassembled in her hands. Unburnt. Unwritten. Just blank. Now she carries it everywhere, like a talisman. In case he comes for me, she tells people. She doesn't say who. She doesn't have to. They've started seeing you in their dreams. Not as a person, as a feeling. The one right before you wake up from a nightmare and realize it wasn't a dream. The one that lingers in your bones for days. They wake up gasping, clutching their chests, and for a second, they remember something they weren't meant to. Then it's gone, but the terror stays. Their last resort was to ask the devil for help. He just laughed. Not the mocking kind, the proud kind. "Oh, you want me to handle that?" He chuckled. "Darling, I don't handle him. I study him." Then he leaned in and whispered something that made the entire coven weep. They won't repeat it, but they've stopped trying to fight you. Now they just light candles and hope you don't notice them. They tried to erase you from their records, burned the files, scrubbed the names, even tried to edit the Akashic records. The records wrote themselves back, in blood. The high priestess who tried it hasn't touched a pen since. Says she hears laughter in the ink now. Their most powerful protection charm is a warding stone, carved with ancient sigils, blessed by 3 bloodlines, charged under a blood moon. They handed one to a witch who encountered you. She dropped it. It shattered, not from the fall, from relief. It was suffocating, she said, like holding a lie. They sent a spy to watch you. Not a person, a thing, a shapeshifter. It came back as a pulp. Not dead, not wounded, just melted. Like it tried to take your form and found out you don't have one. Not in any way it could understand. Now it's a stain on the floor of their temple. They step around it. They don't clean it. They're afraid of what might happen if they do. Their elders are teaching the young ones a new rule now. If you feel it, don't look. If you see it, don't speak. If it speaks to you, don't answer. They don't say who. It is. They don't have to. The young ones already know. They felt you in their dreams. The weight of you. The absence of you. The way the air bends when you're near. They've given up trying to understand you. Now they just document, like scientists recording a natural disaster. They note the places you've been, the people you've touched, the way reality warps in your wake. One witch keeps a journal. Every page is blank except for the date and one word. Here. That's all. Just here, like marking the path of a hurricane. Their most sacred relic is a black mirror. Shows the truth of anything reflected in it. They held it up to you. It showed them themselves, but not as they are, as they could be, as they're afraid to be. The mirror's been locked away ever since. They say it's broken, but sometimes, late at night, they hear it laughing. They tried to bind your luck, thought if they couldn't control you, they could control the things that happen around you. The dice rolled snakes. The coins landed on their edges. The tarot deck arranged itself into a single card. The Fool. Upright, like the universe was daring them to try again. A witch tried to steal your shadow. Thought if she could separate you from it, she could weaken you. Her shadow started talking to her, telling her secrets, showing her memories that weren't hers. Now she sits in a corner, rocking, whispering to the dark. It's not mine, she sobs. It never was. They've started calling you the erasure now. Because that's what you do to their magic. Not by fighting it, by existing so completely it becomes irrelevant. Like trying to cast a spell on gravity. One elder witch put it best. We're the ink. He is the page. Their last act of defiance was to curse your name in the old tongue. The one that binds even gods. The air shuddered. The candles went out. And from the darkness, you laughed. Not at them, with them. Because you already knew what they just realized. Curses are just words. And you've always been beyond words.